Hello and welcome to the Stitchy podcast. I'm Sherry and you're very welcome. How are you? First thing I'd like to say is thank you for your lovely messages on the last podcast. I was a bit down in the dumps still and it was lovely to read all your messages. I feel much more positive now and yeah, so thank you. That was really lovely. I'll first get the legalities out of the way. Weather. It's been one of those days today. We took Archie out for a walk and it was beautiful sunshine, and then we got there and it absolutely tipped down, you know, where you get properly drenched. And then now it's beautiful sunshine and a wild Tommy has just gone chasing across the garden. I don't like days like that. Well, I don't like this kind of weather because I feel like I should be outside and I'm huddling up inside. Do you know what I mean? That kind of day. Tommy, who is our rescue cat, we can't believe the way he's changed. He's so... I don't think he's ever been outside. So he's suddenly got this garden and he's sort of very much in charge of things out there. If another cat comes around the perimeter, they'll have this stare off, they do. And then one of them will move very, very slowly, like in slow motion, the way they turn away from each other. But he's like a kitten. He just charges around the garden. Archie is just like, what's happening? But they're good friends. They sort of touch noses now and almost laying together, about that far apart. Anyway, what have I been up to? I have not been able to, I won't go into the whole history of my arm again, but I really hurt my arm a few years ago, and every now and then it kind of flares up, and my elbow really, really hurts if I try and knit or do anything like that, or use a computer even. So knitting has been on hold, but I have been doing lots of stitching because that I can do. And I've got something here that I've been working on that I found that I picked up again. I will put some footage in here actually, rather than try and, there's all bits and pieces of fabric in there, so rather than try and show it to you, I'll put some footage in. And it's a little bit of slow stitching that I started a long time ago. I can't throw anything away. I keep the tiniest bits of fabric and I keep all the offcuts of yarn. So when we finished dyeing the yarn and it's dried, we always tidy it up, and there are always little offcuts where we tidy it, little tiny bits of yarn that are left over, and I can't throw them away. So actually they're going in pin cushions soon. So I always have lots and lots and lots of scraps of fabric, and I have in sort of colour coordinated bags, and it's some of my most favourite fabric, or it could be lots of vintage fabric, it could be old t-shirts, could be bits of baby clothes that we've had, or just a favourite cushion, anything. So that's what's gone into this little sort of, well, it's a book cover, it's not sort of, a book cover is what it's going to be, which actually started ages ago and forgot all about it. And it's lovely because whenever I pick it up to use it, it's going to have a sort of history to it, which I enjoy. And I've basically used calico and stitched onto calico. So yeah, really enjoying that. And that's just using anything that I've had to hand. I just realised I've got this on. This is my hair band. I've just realised it's on my head, scrappy bit of fabric. This is actually the kind of thing that I can't throw away. So it ends up becoming a hairband to keep my hair out of my face during the day. Anyway, so I've been doing that. The other thing I've been doing, or I have been doing, which is in my little Liberty sewing box, which is really useful because it's got a little compartment in the top to keep everything in, I have started a quilt. I'm a bit addicted to it actually. So the first part of it is the We Are Family quilt. I'll put the link in underneath. It's not just a housewife, it's a designer. And it's got lots of different sections. I think it's 20 blocks I think it's 4 by 5. So this is the first one, which I have shown on Instagram. Now, I know they're very wonky circles, but I don't care. I'm loving them. So they're the first, that's the first block. Now these I did by cutting out the circle and then just turning it under by hand as I went through, as I went round. I can see, holding this up to light, these are very wonky. Never mind. Now these that I've done, this is my next batch. I've got a load of them all together, ready to sew together. Now these I did by, what do you want to show? No, can't see. By stitching, interfacing onto it so that you then turn it inside out so that you've got a neat edge already. So these are much puffier, Winnie the Pooh. These are much puffier. In fact, I don't know if you can see that. That's one of the old ones that I turned under by hand. I don't know if you can actually see that even sideways on, you won't be able to. That's much flatter, these are much puffier. And I'm also wondering, because I left the interfacing in, how it's going to wash, I'm not sure. But anyway, I've got lots of these to put together. And that's the second block, and I've got enough there. For a third block, I've got another block of circles. And then that's the circle part done. And I've got lots of little bits of fabric. Now this one, I think it was I can't remember what it was called now. Was it a chicken one? It's got chickens all over it. Anyway, lots of pretty little bits of fabric in there to use, which I'm looking forward to. I've got loads of bits to put in there. So yeah, that's that one, which I am very much enjoying. So I can do that. I can do applique. It doesn't hurt because it's you're moving your wrist rather than your elbow. So this keeps me quiet. We're going away on holiday, just under 2 weeks' time. First time we've been away, well, like lots of people, in so long. We're going to the Peak District and I cannot wait. So all this is coming with me. That's the lovely thing about this. It's just so portable. I only need to bring this. Well, and my whole haul of fabric, obviously, but it's got a thing for your pins in there as well. Oh, put that back. And they also, this actually, I should say, this was a kit that I got from Pincushion Pantiles, which is, they're an online shop as well, but they're an actual physical shop in Tunbridge Wells, which is very close to where I used to live. I would have camped out in there. I don't know if they were there when I lived there, but certainly I wasn't aware of them. And they're in the I imagine they're in the Pantile section of Tunbridge Wells, which is a lovely old part of it. And it was a little kit that they do. A sort of like a starter kit for the We Are Family quilt. And they sent me some, I didn't expect it, but they sent me some extra threads as well. Or maybe they were meant to send the threads to me, but they came afterwards. I love them. I love Pincushion Pantiles. Yeah, recommend them. If you're after some lovely fabric. And Alice Caroline as well, I love, for Liberty. So that's the sewing that I'm doing. And I've also got some sewing I'll tell you about. So I'm just going to show you a couple of things that I got sent. I'm going to talk to you about the Advent calendar and some yarns, and then I'm going to tell you about something else, that, another venture that we're just starting, which I'm very excited about, which is also sewing related. So I don't think I have showed you this because these were gifts that I got for my birthday, which was in the beginning of July. And then Monty wasn't very well. And then we lost him, and I don't think I've shown these to you. So if I have, it's not going to be difficult for you to see them again because they're both beautiful. If you know Vivian, Green Rabbit Designs, you will know I love I love her. I love things, and she's what she creates is amazing. Look, everything. I mean, look at this fabric. I don't know where she gets her fabrics from. They're just so beautiful. And that little cardigan, these little ears. So I have 4 now. And we love each other, don't we? This little bow. So that was for my birthday. And I love her. Thank you, Vivian. I've actually got the soaps that we sell French soaps on our website, and we've actually got them sort of all laid out in boxes so that when we get an order through, we can just pick the soap out. And the 4 girls sit on the boxes. So they always smell amazing as well. Sit you there. And the other thing that I never showed you, I'm pretty certain, are these that I got from my friend Sharon, who is SCRN1TNO. I always get that wrong. I put that on the screen. Sharon, I am so sorry. I'm just rubbish at remembering that. And Sharon is lovely, and she literally looked in on me just about every day when Monty happened. Anyway, she sent me these for she messaged me every day. She doesn't live anywhere near me. But look, I don't want to get caught on my bracelet that I've got on actually. Look at these. How lovely are they? And those colours, very similar to my floozy cardigan. And I'm going to do a little hat with what I've got left over from my floozy cardigan, which I've done about 5 rows more since I showed it to you last. Oh, what's it called? Pasadena, I can't remember what the hat's called now, but my lovely friend Joanne, who is Port Hardy Knits on Instagram, sent me a pattern of a little hat with birds on. And so I'm going to knit that, and then I've got the floozy cardigan and these. I mean, I never coordinate, ever, because I just have my favourite things I wear, although everything in my wardrobe is blue or grey or black, really. But anyway, aren't they lovely? So thank you, Sharon. Each side, I mean, they would take me forever to make. Oh, and she sent me some fabric as well. So this is the kind of thing that will end up in what I'm just about to show you, or show you in a minute. Look at that, lovely. I just love that fabric. Scraps of fabric and lace, and I didn't bring them. I will show you next time. Actually, I picked some things up at the weekend, which are, it was in a little box of things that were not complete. It was there was a little mat that obviously belonged to another set and a tiny bit of crochet. Oh, I love picking things like that up. Things that just otherwise would be thrown away, I suppose. And little bits of fabric like this, oh, make my heart sing. So I wanted to show you those because I don't think I showed you them before, and both of them were gifts that just so much time was put into, so that was lovely. So I'm going to quickly show you. Tommy's at the back door. He's just started realising that if he sits at the back door and meows at me, oh, he's gone off again, he'll get in. And this is quite magic, the way the door opens. So I'll first of all show you the advent calendar, because I've managed to cause confusion about the advent calendar. We're doing 2 advent calendars this year. We're doing the mindfulness advent calendar, which anyway, that has sold out. And that is a calendar which is very much vintage based, and it's 1 day vintage, 1 day yarn. That's done. The other calendar we're doing, and the only other calendar, and it's the only yarn only calendar we're doing, is the Foxglove Wood yarn advent, which is called, this year it's called the Winter Gathering, a Foxglove Tale. Now, of course, a bit of confusion because We put the listing up for the advent calendar way back, I think in April, and it was a deposit. So you paid your deposit and now people are making their final payments. And on the website, under Advents, there is Foxglove Wood final payment. And there is also now Foxglove Wood Advent calendar. And the reason for that is because Christopher and I are just super cautious, and we like to know that everything is dyed up. We like to know that we've got the yarn, it's dyed up. Once we're at that stage, then we always intended to release some more. And lots of people, some people ended up buying 2 because and I've done a couple of refunds because people bought that thinking it was another advent calendar. And other people have been saying, there's only a final payment listing, have I missed out? Still very confusing, I do apologise for that. If you've made your deposit, you just need to make your final payment now. And on the website, on the far side, you will see, I think it just says advent calendars. And there are 2 listings, and one says clearly final payment, and the other one is a payment in full. So if you haven't made your deposit and you want to buy it, that's the listing you want. And basically what you get with the Advent is, this is the box it came in last year. This is the kind of size you can expect to get. It's a different box this year. And inside are 24, sorry for the noise, 24 little numbered pouches. So you'll get little pouches like this. And these are all little handmade bags, which I've made, I think it's nearly 3,000 of them this year. 3,000, it's a lot of bags. That will cut, and this is not the fabric you'll get this year, so I'm not spoiling it, this is last year's. So you'll get these little bags, and they're all numbered, all sort of 23, 22nd, 23rd, 24th. And you get these little bags, and in each one, you will get, wrapped in tissue, a 20-gram mini. And as well as that, inside, in fact, I do have one here open, I can show you what I'm talking about. So here you are. So you're inside that, you will get a 20-gram mini, which will be all wrapped up in tissue. And you also get a little narrative with it. So you get a little story centred on foxglove wood. That's a little group of animals. It's set in the late 1800s. And they have a bit of an adventure this year, an unexpected adventure. So the idea is that you open one a day and you take a little bit of time to have a cup of tea. So some people like to open these first thing of the morning, and some people seem to have their own tradition of when they open it. I like to open mine of an evening. So the last couple of years I've had Nikki Franklin's Advent, and which I've got to make my final payment for actually. And I would finish work, and it's always really, really busy for us in the lead up to Christmas, and December is pretty manic. So actually I so used to look forward to sitting down, sometimes with a cup of tea, sometimes with a glass of wine, and opening my little gift, my little that day from Nikki Franklin. And the idea is that you sit down with this, with your cup of tea, open your yarn, read the little narrative, and there'll be, throughout the box, there'll be little gifts as well. You don't get a gift every day, but you do get a little sprinkling of gifts to make it extra special. So that is on the website now. There are a few left. When they're gone, because we don't have any more yarn for them. So that's Foxglove Wood Winter Gathering of Foxglove Town. Sorry for any confusion, and I know it did cause confusion. My phone was going crazy on Friday evening. And the only other thing I would say is if you are in Europe, you will, thanks to Brexit, you will have now extra duties that you will pay when you receive your parcel. There's nothing we can do about that, unfortunately. So if you are in Europe, have a check to see what you can expect to pay, because I don't want anyone to get a nasty shock. But there's nothing we can do about that. That's outside of our control. They also go tracked and signed, because very often if a parcel goes missing, we never just sort of say, oh, well, that happens. We always would try and dye it up for you again. We can't dye that up for you again. So we would have to know that we've got compensation, and that you've got compensation if it should go missing. Never has that happened. We've never had one go missing. And as I said, they go fully tracked and signed, and in the UK they go first class signed for, I think it is. And it is a little bit more, actually the tracked and signed is it only makes a difference of, I think, about £3, £4. So it's worth it, and it means you can track your parcel, which is very exciting, I think. And they're going to start going out at the end of October to the rest of the world, and then it will be early November for the UK. And I'm quite proud, actually, because they've gone out to, this year they've gone to Australia, New Zealand, multiple states across America, France, Germany, Ireland, Holland, and Italy. And it's just very exciting for us that people all around the world really are opening those little parcels in the lead up to Christmas. I always find that really exciting. So that's why, if the postage seems expensive, it is expensive. There's nothing we can do about it. We can't. It actually cost us a lot of money last year, because I don't remember what happened now, but prices to America, I think, suddenly took a hike. God, I'm rambling. Anyway, that's the end of all of that. Just quickly show you what's in the shop and what's going in the shop. So this is Howard the Wren. This is on the Donegal Nep base. This is Freddie the Robin. So we only have Freddie at the moment left on double knit. We are dyeing all of these up again, but we're so busy with the Advent as well that we're doing it as fast as we can. So at the moment, so this is Freddie the Robin, and Freddie is the postman in Foxglove Wood, and he's coming up to his very busy time of the year. And this is his colorway. Don't know why I say it like that. That's Freddie the Robin, and this was known just as Wren, but Howard, who is the Wren in Foxglove Wood, got a little bit, funny about that last week. He was a bit upset, a little bit sulky, so he's now Howard the Wren. And this is on Donegal Nep. You can see the little black flecks, tweedy sort of look. And this is this actually is Georgia the Wren. And this is on the white Donegal Nep, so it looks very different. It's like a wren in snow. So we've slightly tweaked the colourway so that it's lighter, as if it's a wren in snow. So that's Howard in Georgia. And this is a yarn that's going into the shop this week. Not quite sure if it's going to be Wednesday. When we can, we'll list it. And this is called Copperfield. Now, Copperfield is the main character, really, in Foxglove Wood. He's a little rabbit who they live in Dickensborough, and his mother is a big Charles Dickens fan, which is why he's called Copperfield. So that's sort of like bottle greens, because greens really is his favourite colour. And there is a reason for a bit of green this year. And yeah, so that's Copperfield. And the other one is the Strictly colourway. Did anyone see Strictly this week? I so enjoyed it. You realise when it comes back how much you've missed it. And Anton, he used to kind of irritate me a bit when he was a dancer, but as a judge, I think he's brilliant. And we used to love Bruno, but I think Anton's doing a pretty good job. And yeah, I think it had lots of Strictly sparkle. I loved it. So this is our Strictly colourway. We also have it with a very dark grey. So the idea is it's the grey for the top hats, black sort of grey for the top hats, and pink for the dresses. And this is called It's Strictly Time. This is our 2021 Strictly colourway. Now, I'm showing you this. They are actually sold out on the website. They went pretty quickly, but we are waiting for a delivery of, this is on Stellina, so this has got 5% Stellina. I don't know if the camera is going to pick it up. It's just got a slight sparkle in it, because obviously it's Strictly. As soon as that is delivered, we will list some more. We'll probably put it on pre-order and then dye it up as quickly as we can. So yeah, that's a Strictly colourway. And lovely Ali. Got a lovely little package from her last week. Oh, what have I done with it? I'm making a little Strictly bag, and it's in that. Anyway, she's got some lovely badges on her website, and she's raising money for a great cause. So it's Crohn's. I'm trying to remember it. It's Crohn's and one other. I don't want to get it wrong. But anyway, go along to her website and have a look. She's got some lovely badges, and she had a great mug, which honestly, Ali, I would definitely buy that if you were selling those. Okay. I think that's all of that. Now, so the other thing I wanted to tell you about, very briefly, don't worry, is a new venture that we're starting. So I have always stitched by hand since I was very young, when I used to make clothes for my dolls. And I can remember when I was at school, we used to have an afternoon, I think it was a Wednesday afternoon, where you could do gardening or cooking or sport or art, I think was the other one, or sewing. And I always used to choose sewing. And I can remember my first fabric that I got, which was this gorgeous, tiny little ditzy lavender print. And I made a nightie. Oh. And I loved it. I think of that fabric now. As a little girl, I was so thrilled with that fabric that I'd chosen it, and I was making this nightie, and it was not a bad attempt. I don't know what happened to it. Such a shame. I would love to have that fabric now. Anyway, I digress. I am starting a new little project, which is going to be kind of stitching through the seasons, and I'm going to make a little book. So if you can make sense of this. I'm stitching it onto calico, which is like an unbleached cotton, which is what I also used for my little book cover that I've got. It's light, it's very inexpensive. I think I got mine from IKEA. I've just got it upstairs. I've got quite a few meters of it. And so I'm using that, and then I've got some cotton batting, interlining, which is going in the middle. Now, had I been a good podcaster, I would have cut this out in advance. Getting hot now. So what the idea is, I will stitch on here. I will stitch on a square, and it's going to be about this kind of size-ish, haven't decided yet. And then I'm going to stitch on the calico. So attach fabric to the calico and stamp on it, etc. And then this is going to be almost like a quilt sandwich. This is going to be the lining, and then there'll be one on the other side, and that will be a page of the book. So I've been waffling so much that the camera overheated again and has been living in the fridge for the last 10 minutes. So completely lost what I was saying. Basically, I think I talked about a quilt sandwich before it went. The idea is that you have one page of the book, the front of the book, or it might be two opening pages. I'll explain that in more detail when I start doing it. Then on one page will be September, and it will be what you see around you in September. And it doesn't have to be a picture. It can be colours. It can be the colours that you see. It can be your favourite fabrics in those colours. Don't think it's got to be a work of art. That's not what it's about. It's about sitting, putting little stitches in it every single day, and having something at the end of the month which you can look back on. You know what it's like when you come out of winter and you start to think, of course the evenings are going to get lighter, or the clocks are going to go forward. Oh yeah, we have to have barbecue, and you forget every year, which is lovely, what's around the corner. And this book is kind of like a seasonal diary, I suppose. It's something that it's lovely to look at. I think, I remember that. And on the other page, the idea is that you would have memories or words or something that's important to you. So, for example, I've just said we're going to the Peak District on holiday. Well, I may have said that, I may not have said it. I don't know whether I've said this or not. I could be repeating myself completely. But when we go to the Peak District, I would, for example, in October have perhaps a ticket for somewhere we've been, maybe a bit of, I don't know, some leaves or a flower that I've picked up or something like that. So one page is personal and the other page is more a snapshot of a month. I don't know if that makes sense to you. I would love it if you were to do it as well. And it doesn't have to be a book. It could be a monthly collage. Think of it as a collage. That's the word. Because fabric, I think, so in literature, you have layering, and which is like intertextuality, which is where you talk about other texts. So where in writing, it may reference another text or even a point in history or something like that. Even in Foxglove Woods, the way Copperfield's mum loves Charles Dickens, that's like an intertextuality. And I think fabric has that. When you pick up a piece of fabric, a piece of vintage fabric, that's a tangible link to the past. So for me, I want to put lots of older fabrics, special fabrics. It could be, like, when I say older, it doesn't have to be 100 years old. It might be the blouse you had 3 years ago that's got a big hole in it, or you can't possibly mend it anymore, or it doesn't fit you. I don't know, or it could be anything. But the idea is that I think fabric, I often will see a fabric and it would take me right back, like a smell. You know, if you smell something sometimes, or you hear music and it takes you back to a moment in time. Well, fabric does that for me. So yeah, that's the idea. It's like stitching through the seasons. Now, why have I started it in September? Because September is not really the beginning of the year, but for me, September is a beginning. September is beginning of a new term. It's the beginning of a new season. What's that you've got, Mal? Bouquets of freshly sharpened pencils, I think it is. It's that feeling of newness. So for me, and I can't stitch it at the beginning, I mean, it's near the end of September, because you have to experience September before you can stitch September, or at least part of it. So that's the idea. Now, I've also, because I've got so much to talk about and so much to say about it, I've started a new Instagram account, which I will put here, and I put a link underneath, which is called Selvedge Chronicles. Selvedge because Selvedge is the, as you probably know, but Selvedge is the edge of my very tattered, this is a Selvedge, my very tattered piece of Selvedge from a piece of linen. It's the edge of the fabric, the very edge that you will cut off because you can't really use it in your sewing. And I keep all my selvages. That's what I'm like. I keep everything. I've got a bag full of selvages because I think there's a beauty in that, and it's also a reminder of what you've used. And Chronicles, because it's kind of, I'm interested in the history of fabrics and textiles and what they meant to our ancestors, really. So yeah, Selvedge Chronicles. And I'm going to be putting mainly on there the stitching that I've done. And also, if you're one of our lovely patrons, then on Patreon I will be doing the stitching on there. So, which is just going to be like a stitching together, not tutorials, because there's nothing to show. It's not about how clever you are with your stitching or not. It's just about if you can do tiny little stitches like I've done on here, little teeny tiny stitches. That's all you need to be able to do. And so if you've got a bit of sheeting, old sheeting would be fine. Anything lightweight and something that you can stitch onto. And something, I had this sort of interlining, but anything would do, just to give the book a bit more substance, but you don't have to have that. And yeah, join in. I think it would be lovely, and I think it's just something lovely. I've probably said this before, but it's lovely to do on the winter evenings, and also lovely to do, I think, later on next year out in the garden. So anyway, that's that. Goodness, I have been talking for a long time. I even set my camera into overload. Anyway, thank you so much for watching. If you stuck to me, I think we need to start having a medal for who stick to the end of my podcast. It's a little vlog at the end, and thank you for watching. Have a lovely week.